Hello folks, today is Friday, September 3rd, 2021. As usual, it's me, Jake Baldino, here to talk about all the video game news that has been going on this week. And there's quite a bit. I can't believe it's September already. That's crazy. First, we got some pretty surprise out of nowhere games we'd like to highlight. One has been on our radar for a minute. One we just really noticed. The first is Project Magnum. Check this out. This crazy looking game is running in Unreal Engine 5. We've gotten this trailer recently. Apparently this is going to eventually be out for PC and consoles. And essentially it's a third-person RPG with shooter elements in like a new sci-fi world. And while it's hard to get a grasp of the RPG elements here, the action and the visuals we see here are pretty freaking insane. Every time we get one of these though, I'm very skeptical. I'm like, is this just like a concept thing that's never gonna come to fruition, or is this something we're actually going to see? Hell, I remember seeing things from Unreal Engine 3 and the early days of Unreal Engine 4 that were just these amazing projects that were revealed that were really just kind of experiments. That being said, this one, as much as Project Magnum is still a working title, this very much looks more like an actual game that we'll eventually see. The other one that's worth talking about that has been known for a moment, but it just got a new trailer, and most people haven't really been talking about it, it's Vigilance 2099. This is straight up, at first glance, you might look at this and go, oh, this is like a competitor to Cyberpunk, and it's third-person and first-person action, and it seems pretty cool, right? I mean, it's very, very early. Clearly, it's rough. It's being developed by a small team, and Voidance Studios, I believe is how you say it. And they've gone on record saying that they're inspired by, obviously, cyberpunk type things, very much Blade Runner, and also Prey 2, the original Prey 2 that we never got, which I still think was like the sickest thing ever, and I really wish that released. I've talked about that so many times on this channel, but I'm very curious. I want to keep my eyes on this because it looks promising. Again, it's early, super rough, but it's gorgeous. There's flying cars, there's seemingly pretty cool combat, or at least it can eventually become cool combat. I'm just really curious to see where this one goes. But let me know what you guys think. Are you over the cyberpunk thing? I mean, the cyberpunk vibe has been a thing before the game, so just let me know what you're feeling on these two games. We figured we'd put them on your radar. Next up, kiddies, mark your calendars. I'm sorry for calling you kiddies. You're all probably grown adults. But mark your calendars for September 9th because we're getting the next big PlayStation event. This is not necessarily just a typical PlayStation update video that we've seen. This one is specifically called a PlayStation Showcase. And I'm not getting my hopes up too much, but there's been some rumblings about this. And from Sony's wording themselves, it sounds like we might get a couple of interesting big announcements. They said, and I quote in their blog post, "You've been awfully patient and we thank you for that. And now we're looking forward to showing you what we've been working on." They've also noted that PlayStation's next-gen VR isn't going to show up, but there's going to be plenty of great PS5 games from developers large and small. People from Video Games Chronicle have suggested that there might be a couple of nice surprises and reveals here. Again, after the last year or so and the slow trickle of news and development and stuff like that, I'm not getting my hopes up too much. I think a lot of us do that a lot. But I don't know. Maybe we'll get a glimpse of God of War. Maybe we'll get a glimpse of the things that I've heard rumblings about that I'm not actually going to say because they could be total BS. It's not super long. It's going to be about 40 minutes long. So remember, September 9th. And of course, next Friday show, we'll keep you guys updated on it. Also, it is worth pointing out, we did talk about Sony. It's worth pointing out something going on with Horizon Forbidden West. It technically won't have like an upgrade path from PS4 to PS5. Like there's no cross-gen upgrade. Using The Verge's words, you're gonna have to buy more expensive versions of the game that offer digital copies for both PS4 and PS5. So there's really no way to get a PS4 to PS5 cross-gen upgrade. You're just gonna have to buy the PlayStation 4 version, and then if you get a PlayStation 5, you have to buy the PlayStation 5 version. So if you buy the $80 digital deluxe edition or the big expensive collector's editions, then you get a PS4 and PS5 version of the game. But it's messy and it's confusing and it's weird, and it's also a little bit of a shift from what Sony has done in the past with stuff like Miles Morales. These growing pains are going to be happening for a little bit. A lot of people are still playing on PlayStation 4. A lot of people can't get their hands on PlayStation 5. But stuff like this just makes it kind of murky and not really very consumer friendly. To quote friend of the show, Kevin Kenson, buying video games shouldn't have to be a puzzle. And you guys know I'm not like a ranty, angry gamer or anything like that, but I agree with that. And there's no real console war bias or anything like that. I just think that things on everywhere should be more consumer friendly, especially as those damn video game prices just keep going up. Now switching gears to the Xbox side, Xbox is going to have a big official event at Tokyo Game Show, which is pretty cool. Late September to the very beginning of October is when TGS goes down, and September 30th, Xbox is hosting a kind of showcase event. They said, and I quote, "Jump in and join Xbox as we bring our gaming ecosystem to the world. We have some exclusive news and content to share, and TGS 2021 is our stage." Are we gonna get new Xbox stuff? Maybe, probably not too much, but I am, as someone who's like a nerd about this stuff, very curious to see how they're going to present once again to Japanese audiences, because Xbox has been really gunning hard to gain more ground in Japan, as previous generations it hasn't taken on as much. Head of Xbox Phil Spencer publicly, and even when I've asked him some questions, seems pretty committed to the Japanese market, and that kind of started with like relationships with some of the Japanese developers, but I'm just curious to see how far this is gonna go. Hey, next up, this episode is brought to you by our longtime sponsor, Raycon. Now, these earbuds start at about half the price of other premium wireless earbuds, but they sound just as good. As you guys know, we've worked with Raycon for a while now, and I've been using this pair right here for over a year, and they just won't die. I find them absolutely perfect for exercising. That's where I wear them the most, and they fit really comfortably and they don't fall out, thanks to every set coming with a bunch of gel tips to get the right fit. They're low profile, sleek, and with the cool charging carrying case, they have a total battery life of up to like 32 hours. They're simple, they're painless for Bluetooth pairing, and they come with a 45-day happiness guarantee. So if you want to check them out and it helps support this show, you can click the link in the description box down below or go to the link on screen here. It's buyraycon.com/gameranx to get 15% off your first order. Once again, that's buyraycon.com/gameranx, and thanks to Raycon for sponsoring our videos. Anyway, inside baseball stuff over, let's talk about blood and guts and space. Dead Space got a kind of reveal event this week, a brief live stream, and I'm really curious to hear what you guys think of this. So it sounds like the developer's intention here at Motive and stuff was to be transparent about the development. Now, we got an event and it wasn't this big blowout crazy event. It was very small, had 2 developers, had some streamers asking them some questions, and very, very early looks at like prototype pre-production versions of the game. Now, for the public and especially big, YouTube or Twitch live stream events, we don't usually see stuff like this, but we got to see a very, very rough working version of the game with Isaac working down a hallway. You can see that the graphics are definitely upgraded, and it makes a hell of a difference when you show them side by side here. It's pretty significant. He's a little beefier, his suit's more detailed. Obviously, the atmospheric effects and the lighting are insane. The thing for me that was most exciting in this news was just talking about how they're updating the game here and there. They announced that they're bringing back Isaac Clarke's voice actor, which is significant because, as you probably may remember, in the original Dead Space, Isaac didn't really talk, and like the whole mute protagonist thing is fine, but when stuff is happening at you and the character doesn't say anything, it ended up being a little awkward. So now they're bringing in the Dead Space voice actor from 2 and 3 to kind of make it all cohesive, and they actually also outlined very specific rules that the team is going on and writing rules, and how he's not going to say a lot, it's not really going to change the game, but in situations where he should be saying something or he should be reacting to something, then that's what they're gonna do. It sounds like they're handling it smartly. I'm very curious to see where this is gonna go. I still very much am like, I think the original Dead Space holds up fine, but I wanna hear from you guys specifically. Are you into these types of events? These events that show things really, really early on? Are you someone who are you interested in the development of the games and the minutia step by step? Or do you not want to have this slow build of hype and just kind of wait to see a trailer and then a game comes out in a couple months and that's it? I'm really curious because it's an interesting approach, so let us know. Also, in terms of reveal events, we also got our look at Marvel Midnight Suns. This is the Firaxis developed Marvel game, of course the creators behind XCOM, and it is very much, as has been leaked and revealed, an XCOM style I was gonna say X-Men game, I wish. Avengers Marvel game. While it does take some inspirations from specific comics, it definitely seems like it's doing a little bit of its own thing. You do create your own character, which is pretty cool, and then you hang out with a bunch of Marvel heroes and go out on these missions and fight battles, and it's very story-based, which is interesting. But combat-wise, it's a card-based system, and I don't know how to feel about that. The way they detail it and the way they do it seems like it's smart, and it's not like super in-your-face card systems, but for this type of thing, I was really hoping it would play more like a traditional XCOM. But on the flip side, like, I do just like this type of stuff. I like these types of games, and if they're doing some story stuff, and if we have Ghost Rider and Blade and Wolverine and Captain America, like, I just, as someone who likes to see all the characters come together like they don't anymore, this could be nice, and I could be willing to put up with some card bullshit. That's just me though. Opinion time over. All this stuff is linked in the description down below, of course, including all this stuff I'm gonna highlight. The first is a trailer for Ghost of Tsushima Legends new Rivals mode. So the multiplayer mode they dropped that was pretty good is going to continue. This is like a new competitive mode where you're not necessarily fighting each other, but you are competing against each other and you can screw each other over, and the trailer kind of details how it all goes. Also, for housekeeping's sake, linking a trailer to The Medium, which is now on PlayStation 5 as of today. It was an Xbox PC exclusive thing. Now it's on PlayStation, so if you haven't gotten a chance to check it out and you're interested in that type of horror, there you go. Also, for a second, you guys know I talk about Splinter Cell all the time. Wanted to highlight this game called Spectre. Shout out to IGN and Ryan McCaffrey. Credit where credit's due. They highlighted and blew this game out. And it's nice to see it getting some mainstream attention. This is essentially a game very much inspired by the classic Splinter Cell multiplayer mode, Spies vs. Mercs. The way this very small two-man team, and with some contractors and stuff, the way they're looking at it is if Ubisoft isn't going to make it, they're going to. And so far, it seems pretty promising early, but this interview is really good and worth checking out. Also, in case you missed it, because it is worth highlighting, the new, essentially law, or really regulation passed in China that limits gaming for teenagers and minors. Now, in a way, if you follow this stuff, it doesn't come as a surprise. There have been some restrictions and some tightening in the past, but now they're going pretty hardcore with it in an attempt, I guess, to stop gaming addiction. So now minors are forbidden to play online video games more than 3 hours a week, while kids are restricted from online gaming completely from Monday to Thursday and can really only play on the weekends. So if you're under 18, you're only gonna be able to play video games from 8 to 9 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays and holidays. It's all over the place, it's a mess, but the way it's going to work is that the gaming companies themselves are going to have to restrict access to the games. Like, people are gonna have to, obviously, they log into online games, their age and stuff is tracked, so that's how it's gonna work. And obviously that's heavy-handed and not good, and like, our heart goes out for gamers out there. That sucks. There's a lot of nuance to it and some interesting stuff. If you want to read into it, I'll link it in the description below, just how it affects the gaming ecosystem as a whole. The fact that China's gaming audience, there are more gamers in China than I believe the US, the UK, Germany, France, Japan combined.
Really?
Yeah, it's insane. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
So that's huge. And of course, a lot of this comes from people getting hooked on free-to-play mobile games, which I think honestly is a beast that China actually kind of created themselves with the regulation and stuff that they have been trickling in for the past few years. So it's a bummer. And if you like the numbers game and you like the deep details of gaming and gaming news and stuff in the industry, yeah. Oof. I don't know what to say. Also, let's wrap up with two things to look forward to. The first is September 17th. That's going to be a new THQ Nordic event celebrating technically its 10th anniversary, which is pretty crazy. And they're talking about a bunch of reveals. There's going to be a live stream event, and we're expecting a bunch of stuff. This is, of course, the people behind most recently Darksiders, the Destroy All Humans remake, stuff like that. So fingers crossed we see something cool. Are they going to finally announce that Time Splitters? You know, they gobbled that up and they're making something. Maybe we'll have to wait longer. I don't know, but hopefully we see something cool. Also, DC Fandome is going down, and something I'm very much looking forward to. Last year surprised me. It was really cool. And this year, it's going down again, and there are game reveals. And of course, we're gonna get looks at Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, that Rocksteady joint. So that's pretty sweet. Expect that on the 16th. They've already been teasing a little bit, and you know, we get the little Court de Bowels image. Very excited to see that, but let's see what they got, man. But that was a lot of the stuff we found interesting in gaming this week, and hopefully you did too. I want to hear from you guys in the comments though, what you're thinking about everything going on. The China thing. What? Also, Dead Space, like I said, are you into those types of slow trickle, transparent updates, community-based updates like smaller games usually do, or not? Also, those two new games we showed off, like that have been trickling out the past couple months, what do you think? Are they just pretty little showcases that are going to amount to anything, or do you think they're going to be cool games? Let's talk about what PlayStation's doing, what you expect from their event next week, their showcase event, Xbox, anything. Hit us up. We'll be down in the comments as much as possible, but like I always say, things get a little crazy, so if you want to yell at me directly, Twitter, Instagram, and also youtube.com/JakeBaldino. If you had a good time with us though, all you got to do is click the like button. That really helps us. I'm here every Friday giving you guys the news. I'm working on a bunch of before you buy videos, so keep your eyes peeled for the next 2 weeks. A lot of games. But thank you guys for being here. I'm Jake Baldino. Pizza's on me.